Let's see how this works. Show me. He started toying with the echoes to see which was which. Looking at a building, he read. Blooms, he said aloud. Stop! It was an ice cream parlor. Fast forward! It was an inside strip mall. Fast forward! There was a sign that said, George Wall Grocery. He repeated. Rewind, rewind, rewind. Muddied water had surrounded him, and it was coming fast. Quickly, he said. Fast forward. After a few seconds, he shouted. Stop! An old newspaper was stuck to the bottom of his shoes. Picking it up, it read The Flood of 1920. Looking up at the same building, he read a sign that said, Bloom's Apartments. He stood there for 30 minutes, playing with the echoes until he could understand them. Crossing the railroad tracks, he was happy to see the street sign. Adams Street. His mouth watered as he smelled the aroma, seeing the campsite just up ahead. He shouted for joy as he ran and opened the pot. Chicken and dumplings, lightly mixed with green beans and carrots. Man, oh man, he said out loud. Sitting there eating, he spotted two young boys, about 9 or 10. A structure appeared made out of some kind of material he had never seen before with a metal roof. There were signs around it, and a large red ball was on its side with cursive lettering with the words, Coca-Cola. Wanyanyekova got up and walked to the building. Mr. Pete's Grocery. A sign posted outside the building. Curious, he tried to open the door, and his hands went through the door, so he continued to walk inside. There were the two boys with a red wagon filled with glass bottles with Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, and RC written on them. An elderly man said to the boys, That'll be $20. One of the boys said, And that's $10 apiece. Andrew replied, Yeah, with a smile on his face. Ah, man. Larry, Andrew said, let's go to George Wall's and buy some firecrackers. Larry counted his money and excitedly said, Okay. Wanyanyekova, with a smile on his face, laughed at the two boys enjoying themselves as they ran up the street. He followed them until he got back to his campsite. From a distance, he heard them comparing and trading their snacks. I'll give you 1 sugar baby and 2 planks for a moon pie, said Andrew. Okay, said Larry. I'll give 3 windmill cookies and 2 Kool-Aid straws for a Babe Ruth. The two boys faded down the road. Wanyanyekova had just finished his meal and packed up his backpack when he saw the boys returning more excited than before. Wanyanyekova said to himself as he took out his notepad to take notes on how to get around this small town. I'll follow them for a while. The two boys headed north on Adams Street and turned west on West Craig Street, where they stopped on the corner of West Craig Street and Harding Street. They walked onto a porch and started separating their firecrackers. What y'all doing making all that noise on my Gary? Andrew shouted back. It's me and Larry, Big Ma. Big Ma came to the door. Y'all gotta take that noise somewheres else. Y'all gonna make my cake drop. This house shakes when y'all shake. Y'all gone somewheres else with that noise and shaking. As she went into the house, you could hear her say, If these cakes done dropped, I'm gonna whoop both y'all tails. The boys shouted, Okay, as they quickly gathered up their things, headed north on Harding, and made a quick left on West Arrow. Ruby! Shouted Larry. Me and Andy. Ruby interrupted him. You and Andra go and get me some pressed ham and cheese, some light bread, and some of those Ritz crackers from Yellowhammer. Andrew said. Where we gonna put our stuff at? We don't want Dexter messing with our firecrackers until we come back. Ruby said. Y'all put that shit on the table, till y'all get back. Dexter ain't gonna mess with that shit. Gone now and her back. Oh, and grab me a can of snuff and a box of starch in the red box. Andra, make sure y'all get that red box. Tell Bowman to put it on my tab till next week. Oh, go ahead and get $1 worth of hog head cheese for Nut. The boys put their bags on the kitchen table and ran out the door. Wanyanyekova left his belongings at the house and chased after the boys. He felt the excitement as they did. Taking notes as they headed west into a curve and made a right on Pecan Street, then left on Bozeman Street until they came to a white building on West Craig Street. As they returned, they saw Rosemary at the house with Ruby. "Andrew, you and Larry James need to hurry up with that pressed ham. Me and Chuck are hungrier than two fat ladies waiting on their food stamps at the end of the month." Larry laughed and said, "Hey, Rory,